Okay, so this is going to be a re-recording of the video that I recently published on this spreadsheet here. I really didn't like the way it came out. I was using a different software, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this one, and then delete this one. But I really wanted to go over the spreadsheet because I think it's something that's important for those that are considering reloading, and how much money you can save, not to mention the aspect of actually doing it when you start looking into it. So let's go ahead and go back to the spreadsheet. So I'm gonna go ahead and increase it so we can look at it a little bit better. So as I said in the other video, that I've probably been hand loading since, oh God, I have no idea. My oldest son is 30 years old, and I started reloading before he was born, so probably somewhere around maybe 32, 33 years. I started off with pistol, and I've been loading nothing but pistol for the last couple of years, and I just started reloading 223 most recently. So whenever I bought components to start loading, usually I buy it in bulk, 8-pound keg or a certain amount of pounds of powder and primers and bullets, and then I load it all, and then I'm done. And then till the approximate time when I need to start loading again. So this current venture into loading 223 consisted of purchasing components last year. So these primers right here were purchased somewhere around I want to say 2015, 2016, when I was going to look into loading 223 and 308. But for one reason or another, I didn't do it. So they just sat there. Of course, we all know what happened in 2020. So 2020 is when I started really looking into it, and I bought a lot of bullets for 9mm, a lot of bullets for 38. So I loaded 9mm and 38, probably around 2,000 rounds of that, and I finished that all up until so I have a little bit of powder left in my 8-pound keg. When I have the opportunity to get some more small pistol primers, I'll get some. I'll do some more loads for 9mm and 38. I also started loading last year, or the previous year, 40 also, because of the M&P 40 that I bought. I had a 27, but I wasn't really loading for it. So getting back to the spreadsheet, I sometimes get off track. So prior to 2022, primers were used normally around $30-$35 for a brick. I did purchase 700 from, I believe this was a local shop, and then another 700 from Cabela's. Additionally, I bought a total of 3,600 bullets. Usually, most of these I bought from Cabela's, the Hornady ones, and then I ordered bullets from Everglade. These are the pounds of powder that I purchased last year. Also, was 4 pounds to load pretty much these Hornady bullets and some of the Everglade. Later on, I bought an 8-pound keg also. So when you do the cost breakdown of bullets, primers, so forth, I'll be to that. I'll talk about. You come up with the equation that pretty much says how much it's going to cost you to build a round, which, like I said, I'll go over on the next tab. Powder, when I purchased it, it came out to be normally about half a cent. Half a cent seems very little per grain, but when you do the math and you calculate the amount of grains that you're loading, that's where the cost of the bullet comes in. I'm sorry, the round. So you can see right here is the total that I spent last year buying components. All right, so let's go to the next spreadsheet. So let me go ahead and minimize this also, maximize this also, because the last one, like I said, it didn't do any justice in regards to how I was explaining it. So if you look up here in this area, cost per bullet is basically 1 cent. Hope that's right. I think it's more like 10 cents. It's 10 cents, I'm sorry. 10 cents give or take. Cost of primer is 3 cents, and current prices for primers right now is 10 to 9 cents. Powder, when you do the cost breakdown at 25 grains, you're paying 13 cents, and with the load that I'm using now for the rounds that I'm building, it's 23.1, which comes out to be 12 cents. So you pretty much factor all of this right here into one bullet cost, and you come up with this section right here. So it was right, it was 12 and 11. 27 cents with the 3 cent primers, and then 33 cents and 34 cents with the 10 cents and 9 cent primers. So that's how much it costs you component wise to load one single round. When comparing it to current prices of, just so I can get it spread out, there we go, looks a little bit better, right? So when you compare it to current prices of ammo, which is basically right here in this area, one box of 20 will cost you at 75 cents a round. And I think it's running about 14, 15 bucks. Box of 50, it's a little bit more because you're paying for a lot more rounds. But needless to say, when you compare factory ammunition cost at 75 cents versus 33 cents, it's a big difference. So when I take into consideration how many rounds I'm loading, like for example, right here in this area where the first batch that I loaded, the 120 test rounds and the 400 rounds that I recently loaded. So if I do 400 rounds at the cost of 75 to 76 cents, I'm paying 300 bucks. Per 100, you're paying 75 bucks. Here, a 400 rounds costed me $108 per components wise. The only thing you had to do is, of course, you put in the work. So in this section right here, this pretty much these calculations, I'm doing primers in this section, primers in this section. You got 120 primers, 400 primers, blah, 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 so forth, until pretty much I don't have any more primers. In this section right here, I'm doing bullets until I run out of bullets. Okay, I've broken these figures down to make sure that I get the cost per primers based on the price that I paid. So this is the cost that it would cost me to component wise to make these loads right here. Okay, so moving on to this next section, which does get somewhat confusing. So up here is a total amount of primers that I had, and I put these calculations into here also. Over here in this area to find out when I'm going to run out of primers. I moved it over too much. So here in this area is where I calculate the powder. I am calculating 4 pounds of the first batch and 8 pounds of the second batch for a total of 84,000 grains. Bear with me. So possible loads at 23 to 24 grains, you got 3,500 loads. And this is where I start doing the calculations. So this part right here is just using the original 4 pounds. And as you can see, I'm only going to be able to load a total of, 8, 1020 right here. 1120 rounds. So I'm still gonna have some remaining powder, which I'll probably use at another point. So I move on to this red section right here, which is dealing with the 8-pound keg, and basically because I'm testing Everglades, so that's 40 rounds for testing, and then the loads total. And then because I am testing with new powder, I'm doing another 40 rounds for testing. As you can see, I run out of right here in this section is where I run out of primers. So I can't load anymore, which is going to leave me the remaining powder here. So what I did was I calculated the remaining powder here and moved it over here. And based on how many loads I can get out of this powder, I figure out how many primers I need. Okay. Now, take into consideration that I can use this remaining powder for the bullet shell packs that I have. I can load those 750 rounds, and I'll still have somewhere around 13,000 grains, which is another calculation that I have to make. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain right here. So I got all those calculations from this right here, which is a total of primers used. So you got test rounds, the first batch, the second batch that I'm working on right now. This is not needed because this is the case bullet combo, and then the Everglade rounds. But here's where I run out at this point. So in order to be able to utilize the powder with the primers I have remaining, I did calculations on how I can use the case bullet combos with a separate batch of powder, and it came out to be 3 pounds that I will need in order to load these, and that would give me the total of 750 rounds loaded, and with the remaining pounds or remaining grains of 3,000. I know, which could only load 125 rounds. So I hope that you understand this crazy spreadsheet and understand what I'm trying to get across on loading. And it sounds kind of ridiculous. I've always done this on pen and paper. I probably got a couple of notebooks that are full of the data for 9mm, 38, and 357 that I've loaded in the past, and up recently until I started loading the 40. I'll probably be doing this same kind of spreadsheet when I start loading 308. I have 308 shells. I have IMR 3031, and I have about 2,000 large rifle primers. But the load for 308 is double the amount of 223, so I'm gonna need a lot more primers. But the good thing is that since I got the 2,000 large rifle primers, I'm going to be able to load 2,000 rounds of 308. It'll probably be more expensive, but it will save me in the cost, considering that the last time I checked, I think 308 was at the cost of anywhere from 120 to 150. Although don't quote me on that, I haven't checked prices since I got my 223 bolt action. I've been shooting that a lot more than the 308, mainly for the cost. But needless to say, I hope you got some information from this that helps you and understand why people like myself decide to load our own ammunition. Although it is a tiring process, I've learned with 223, shell preparation does take a little bit of time, and you do run into some issues like I'm having right now, which I'll explain in a follow-up video. I am making a video of my current process of loading 650 rounds. I will submit that when I finally complete it. But at this point, I think I've rambled on way too much. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, so forth, go ahead and post them. I will reply back in the comments section. I know this sounds crazy, but hey, it is what it is, and you have to somewhat realize what you're doing to a certain extent. Like anything else, you take a lot of things into consideration, costs and so forth. When you're doing something it's gonna hit your pocketbook. I think for right now, most of us hand loaders are dealing with the cost of components right now. This right here is probably the biggest cost that we've come across, is the increase in primers. Primers have increased 100%. Powder is has moderately increased, but not so much as primers. And bullets have stayed pretty much the same. Maybe they're going to went up for 1 or 2 cents, but not severely. There we go. There I go rambling on again. Thank you for watching my video. Take care. Be safe. Post any questions, comments, gripes, concerns. Appreciate your time. Once again, take care and be safe. Bye for now.